Hello, Africa. Hello, Nigeria. Hello, East Nigeria. And hello, Abuja. This is that number one magazine program that usually comes your way every weekends on viewer television. Now, here on this platform, we make sure we give you nothing but the best. Talking about giving you insights, in depth analysis from all ramifications of life, precisely when it has to do with Nigeria. And of course, in some cases, we look at stories beyond. Now, here on this platform, we promise you a lot of exciting, I would say, interviews and, of course, segments. We have humanitarian ladies that are out there impacting one way or the other. Uh, that's to humanity. And also, we have newspaper headlines that happen all through the week, starting from Monday till Friday. By the way, my name is Philip Sliven, and as usual, I have the delectable Nonso Pam here
Yep.
to help me row the boat so that at least we move forward on these platform. You are very, very much welcome.
Yeah, it's always exciting doing this every weekend, bringing to you news across Nigeria and giving you, like he said, analysis and all. It's been a very eventful week in Nigeria,
Mm-hmm,
don't you
mm-hmm,
think?
ever since our very own Jagaban, what was Idan, our very own Idan,
Done.
uh, entered that office. Mondays usually comes with its own here and there, and of course
Yeah.
we it's like a thriller movie. You understand, where
Yeah.
you just anticipate
Every
your
week keeps you in
everybody's in
suspense.
suspense. You
Yeah.
understand? You just wonder, oh great, it's another week. What do we expect?
Yeah.
It's are they going to sell half of Nigeria this time, or what is going to
Please,
happen,
they
or they're
shouldn't. They
or they're
shouldn't.
going to
It's been the show has been packed full of from drama to suspense this past week, and
uh,
that's what we have lined up for you on the program today. And New Dawn Nigeria will be right back, and we'll start with the major headlines making the news in the past week. Join us again.
Now it's still the new dawn on, of course, viewer television, and we are broadcasting live from our headquarters here in Abuja. Now, as we said earlier, we'll be looking at the newspaper headlines that has happened all through from Monday to Friday. That's from 24th, of course, to the 28th of July 2023. Now, remember, as we usually state this, if any of those stories possibly you missed or intrigue you or interest you, you can drop by any vendor close to get a copy. And of course, find out more about that, or rather, we are at the digital age. Just drop by the e-platform. And of course, get the complete story there, or if you're following any, we'll give you the updates. Now, remember, this is just a summary of what happened all through the week, just to keep you abreast on what has been happening in case you missed a few. And we'll be starting with Monday, that's the 24th day of July 2023. Now, these are some of the headlines from select national dailies. And we'll be starting with Vice President Kashim Shettima departed Abuja to represent President Bola Tinubu at two major international summits in Rome, Italy, and St. Petersburg, that's in Russia. And moving forward, amidst worsening revenue challenges, state governments' indebtedness to commercial banks has risen to 2.2 trillion naira. The latest data from the quarterly statistics bulletin of the Central Bank of Nigeria showed that states and local government areas owed banks about 2.21 trillion naira as of March 2023. Now, the case of indebtedness of I know it's not only Nigeria. Someone once said,
Mm.
if the world is in debt of certain amount, who is supposed to collect the amount? But let's narrow it down to Nigeria, where
Yeah.
the country at large is collecting debt. The states, the local governments are also collecting debt, and there's little in some states to show in regards to the amounts that are being collected
Collected.
or borrowed from.
Yeah.
Some might be wondering why okay, we have such amount that we collected. How is it that we are still in that state?
The
And
state, yeah.
the
Because you,
changes are just little. So
yeah,
you think whether they are borrowing it for personal reasons or they're actually borrowing it for.
it begins to feel like personal reasons, because when you see some state governors come in and they'll tell you that they inherited a debt of getting to billions of naira, sometimes billions of dollars, and you see that in that state they're probably still owing civil servants, local governments are still owing. There hasn't
Mhm.
been really much work done in terms of in infrastructure and all of that. And that
Education,
state, yeah, and
security,
that state still is getting their own quota out of the federal allocation too, and you're still indebted, and you begin to wonder,
and they're
so
still
what
making
happened?
plans for
Yes,
more
for more,
loans.
yes. And then you hear that they also had, oh, this month, this year, this state generated so and so amount in their IGR, and you're still in debt. We don't understand that.
So
Quite
sad, so sad,
unfortunate.
so sad. Now, moving forward, the National Executive Committee, that's NEC, of the All Progressive Congress is expected to ratify the choice of Dr. Abdullah Ganduje as the national chairman and Senator Ajibola Bashiru as the national secretary at its next meeting.
Mm.
Now, the game of politics, you never can tell what
Yeah.
what is happening. I know Ganduje is already having issues with anti-graft in Kano, and imagine putting him to head
Putting him.
the leading political party.
Mm.
Uh,
You know, they say that that's what passes now for this. They say you're you're innocent until proven
Guilty.
otherwise. Yeah. So,
Yes.
and a lot of people who you see are being called out for nominations and all that, you hear, considering this allegation that has come against this person, why is this person being nominated
Why
for
are
this?
they bringing them
Why
up?
are they? Yeah, and it's even to the big picture of our president to, being the chair of ECOWAS. A lot of people had to say, why is he being given that? He still has case in court. What if it swings
Yes.
the other way? What if it doesn't swing
What
in his
happens?
favor? What happens? Get all those kind of things. And I wonder why we don't just even look at those things when we're giving all these appointments. And it goes to show that probably nobody cares how the judiciary swings, whatever they swing, however they swing. We
You
just
know,
move with what we want.
judiciary in Nigeria is like a theater arts play. You
Yeah.
you feel like there's a director, there's a producer, and there are people behind the stage
Mm,
play that you just won't understand.
that's
Imagine the court telling NLC that they can't protest, they can't go on nationwide strike and all
and
that.
NLC
Like
are just behaving like.
this the fundamental human rights is not there. You understand? So
Hmm.
you wonder how the legal aspect of Nigeria is really,
Is working.
really.
It's really a concern what's happening in our judicial system, because
Mhm.
it was seen to be like the highest form of, it was like a temple, the judiciary. Whatever they say is law and order and is binding, but we don't see that happening these days, and we wonder, where did this begin? How did it start? Before, you don't hear anything like that. So once you hear that, okay, the even magistrate courts, not even high court. We're not even talking high court, court of appeal. You hear that magistrate court had said something like everybody just takes redress. But we don't see that happening now.
in order to note the fact that even other agencies are not considering, based on how they portray themselves, are not considering the laws of the court,
Mm.
because possibly they feel they are superior to what the law has to offer. Imagine the court telling or stating that the suspended governor of CBN should be remanded in a correctional center, but the DSS going against
Going
that.
against the
Um,
court order.
that's a level to which the court are not really,
Mm.
the legal system in
So it's
Nigeria
not.
is not really appreciated. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's move forward. Um, the the Enugu state government has called on residents to ignore Monday's sit-at-home order by the indigenous people of Biafra. We can't overemphasize this
Yeah,
enough.
we
The
can.
person stating or saying that people should sit at home
Mm.
is out there in Finland going to work every Mondays and is still saying that. I know it has created a lot of pandemonium when the government closed down some shops who refused to
To
open on a
open.
Monday
Mm.
after. So you wonder who is governing who now. Is it the person in Finland, or is it the state
I really
government?
think we should really move for the extraditing of that guy in Finland. I think he
Yes.
should come back home and answer some questions because we don't know what power that guy is wielding. So he should really be brought back. He should be brought back home and be asked questions. Because remember we took the story last week where the Enugu
Yes.
state government said he's losing 1 billion a day to the sit-at-home order on Mondays. No.
Imagine how that can impact the economy of
Yeah.
Nigeria. Already there are chaos. The economy is it's somehow, but anyway, even Kanu himself is saying you guys shouldn't sit at home.
Yeah, I
That's the
don't.
really
That's the
huge
thing.
now.
I don't think he is in support of. I'm getting the sense behind the agitators saying let us shut down on Mondays because let us affect the economy of the
Maybe they will
country.
release
But
Kanu.
it is directly affecting your state more than it is because most of that is your IGR. You're losing in on your IGR when you lock down a state. So most of the impact is directly first on your state than it is because apparently it's been going on for years since 2020 or 2021 and nobody cares. So the impact is mostly on your state.
All right. Controversy has trailed the approval of 61.2 million naira by the Lagos State government for the mass burial of 103 victims of the 2020 #EndSARS protest in the state. After they said nothing happened, all of a sudden, some ghost appeared dead. You understand? And now we are to
So
bury.
so Sanwo-Olu said that those bodies are like he's saying that happens a lot, and especially Lagos is like a no man's land. People are there, they're all by themselves, no family. So he's saying that these were people who died all over Lagos during. We know that most of Lagos was problematic at the point. So these
Yes.
are people who died from different crises and different. This is not from Lekki toll gate. So that's the excuse to this now. This is not from Lekki toll gate, and there's approval for mass burial. I wonder why Nigerians don't even have the moral compass to decide not to monetize everything. You're saying you want to give these people a mass burial. Okay, let's take it and let's take it your word for that. You want 60 million
61.2
million
million for
naira
mass
for
burial.
mass burial.
I wonder maybe
They're not going to have a service. They're not going to have anything. They don't have to rent homes or anything.
there won't be any wake keep where
Yeah,
they
well,
will share
yes, there's
drinks.
no service, there's nothing. It's a mass, and we know how mass burials happen. Like you just get a carpenter. We know that the coffins are not usually as done for normal burials. So why do you need? It's how we
61
find
point
the
million.
the
It's not
ethic to just monetize everything.
it's not 600. It's not 60. It's not 600,000 or
It's 61 million. And trust me, those people were being lenient. That was why we didn't hear 200 million.
there is more to that news later. I think that's according to today's headlines.
Yeah,
But
right. All right.
finally, on Monday, The Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, that's FAN, has shifted the date to effect a new tariff toll fare at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport from July 17th to August 1st. I have a feeling that time will come. Time will come when you go out, before you say I'm a Nigerian, they will say you have to pay. Just because we're already seeing cases where there is that factor that you have to renew your ownership of a car every
Every year.
year. Something that you pay custom, whatever you pay for the car every year. Now you have to pay something to say I own this car. So
I'm not surprised.
they are monetizing everything.
I'm not
It's get
surprised for that, for car owners being taxed 8,000 naira every year. I'm not surprised because it's the model, if I can call it, permit me to call it, a business model of how President Tinubu operates. We've seen him do that a lot in Lagos, and it's been said that that is how Lagos is the town that it is before, because its IGR is strong and it helped in everything. So I'm not surprised that that is happening. But like I said, I
come
hope we don't have to pay for being Nigerians.
come on.
You are
We
a
are going
Nigerian,
through
you
a
are
lot
paying
already.
us.
Which one is paying
Pay-
for there's no fuel for the car because the price is high.
Yeah.
Now you're asking me for the car that I packed because I couldn't afford buying fuel. I have to.
I'm being taxed one, and this is outside of me renewing my papers and everything
It's just
every year.
ridiculous. Don't forget that factor where before you park again, you have to pay.
Yeah, you have to pay. You'll be paying in
I don't know.
designated parking zones.
I don't know whether you've heard of what there was a time in Lagos where they said if you hang a clothes outside, you have to pay, or the government will seal in that structure or all that. See,
Was that some environmental thing or what?
yes,
Oh wow.
that just like the way you wash your clothes and you dry them outside.
Mm.
If you do that outside, you get to pay, or the government will seal that building.
Oh, wow.
It's something that I just hope that we get past
Yeah.
all this. That's why sometimes when you hear people leave in the country, you just be like, no matter what's happening there outside, because they too complain like you guys should be lucky that you're in Nigeria, this is
Yeah.
your motherland. But regardless, what's happening? Anyway, let's move forward for that July 25th.
Fifth. All right, moving to July 25th. For news, former President Olusegun Obasanjo embusted Nigerian leaders, accusing most of them of being empty as far as development issues were concerned. What do you think about that statement?
Uh, I feel he has a point, but if only he will include himself, because he's also part of the past this thing.
Leaders.
Because there are some things that clearly, even a layman, even permit me to use the word, even a dullard can fix 1+1 is 2. But somehow the government will tell you 1+1. There's no answer for that. So
For some reason, I will beg to differ, because if there is any past government that will come out to talk about development, right? Development now, because I think that's where the statement was. If that person is Obasanjo, I think we can listen to him, because we know that he brought a lot of development to the country when he was the president. So if he will come out to say that present, past, current leaders have not done so much in terms of developing the country, I think I'll go with him.
definitely he will blow his trumpet the same way Buhari will come and say that he's the one that tackled insecurity in Nigeria.
So there
And
are different.
imagine Buhari saying like the security hasn't been better than when he left it, or than when he met it. You understand? So
Yeah.
everybody is there blowing the drum. So far, so good. The only past president that I can beat my chest and say he tried is Yaradua.
Yaradua.
In as much as Goodluck Jonathan had tried in a way, you understand, because the economy was a bit stable. Also, Obasanjo's economy was a bit
Stable.
stable, but after that, everything else just.
Yeah.
But regardless, I still,
We'll
yeah,
always
everybody will blow his trumpet.
we'll always remember late Yaradua. And
Seriously.
for one of the things I think I liked and I think our current leader should look at is he was definite, he was precise. I have a 7 point agenda and I'm going to do this. He
I'll work
stuck
on
with
it.
it and that was what he was. It was so unfortunate that that was a leader we didn't have for so long. All right,
Yes.
moving on. Occasioned the groaning occasioned by the removal of the fuel subsidy grew louder as the Nigerian Labour Congress said it was ready to fight the economic pains and hardship caused by the federal government's decision. And same Tuesday, the Department of State Services has finally produced Godwin Emefiele, suspended governor of the central bank, in court.
That was when the whole drama.
Yeah.
Well, before we talk about the Emefiele's case, I have something to say about the NLC.
Okay.
I feel it's been a long time that NLC will come and say we are going on a nationwide strike. We are going on a nationwide strike. The federal government will call them and be like, guys, calm down, now, calm down. Why are you? But they were just like, "Ugh," and that's just it. Next day they will tell you like everybody can go back to work. No effect,
You know,
nothing.
I asked you, Phillips, the other time that what happened to the negotiations that were supposed to begin 19th of June? You said it was hopeful that the negotiations are ongoing.
It's ongoing. Someone,
Is it
someone,
ongoing?
someone sent a random person sent me a message this morning,
Mm.
asked me what's up with the negotiation. I said they are still gisting.
But
They
what is it? Trade Union Congress spokesperson, he came out to say nobody has. They're not having any talks.
that's you see, this is it. They will say that some will say there's progress, some will say there's no progress, some will say there's progress, some will say there's no progress. At the tail end, there won't be anything. Nothing will happen. There won't be any nationwide strike, protest rather. There might not be any implementation. Highest is the case of the palliative that will come that will only last for 6 months. I don't know what happens after that 6 months, whether we'll go back to status quo or whatever. But all I know is that the NLC now it's just a toothless bulldog.
Oh wow, Phillips.
I can't wait for the day when this will be trashed and you realize that there won't be any protests.
All right, let's see in the coming weeks what happens to that effect. So there is palpable anxiety in the ranks of some former and serving governors of the ruling All Progressives Congress, that's APC, and its leaders over the delay by President Bola Tinubu in releasing the final list of ministerial nominees. And coming up, we know that that has changed. And so, contrary to reports making the rounds, the Independent National Electoral Commission said it did not receive cash support from the international development partners to conduct the 2023 general elections. Yeah, so let's believe that. So residents of Enugu State on Monday trooped out and marched around the streets of the state capital in protest against the continued Monday sit at home in the states. And lastly, on Tuesday, Boko Haram suspects reportedly plotting to attack the Yola Adamawa residence of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar have been arrested.
Yeah, four suspects were arrested. They are all in their 20s for a plot to attack the former vice president, that's Atiku Abubakar. But it's good that they've been apprehended. Now moving forward, that's for July 27th. Now, starting with President Bola Tinubu's government has told Nigerian Labour Congress they cannot embark on any strike as they are barred by court. Can you imagine? So you can't exercise
your rights. It's your civil rights.
Because the court with its legalities will come up and say this and that. Tomorrow I pray we don't reach a point where we can't even complain in the country because they will say the court said you guys can't say nothing. Anyway, for good news for Adamawa State, the governor Amadou Umar Fintri of Adamawa State has approved monthly subsidy allowance of 10,000 naira for government workers and pensioners in the state as part of efforts to mitigate the impact of fuel subsidy removal. Subsidy will be granted for 6 months. I wonder why they usually say 6 months. 6 months.
6 months.
What happens after the 6 months?
I think they are projecting that the economy and everything would have stabilized
By then.
by then.
Okay,
Yes.
but that's actually good news. That's even before the federal government start anything. At least he's trying to make sure that his own workers are. And I know of several organizations that also increase their salary. I think Wema Bank also did such also,
Okay.
and that's great. The immediate past Rivers State Governor Yusuf Wike and his colleague from Kaduna, Nasir El-Rufai, have made the list of ministerial nominees.
Right.
And the game of these are part of the examples when you read the book like 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. These are the type of examples that usually make where in order to stay in power you have to leave or go against your previous master or whatever. Just
Thanks.
so
I would call that's a dirty game of politics. You just have to continue
yes.
being relevant. So wherever, how do they say it? Wherever belief is, you just keep doing everything to be on the good side of the power.
Regardless of the fact that he's still with the PDP.
Yeah.
All right, the immediate past Minister of Information, Culture and Tourism of Nigeria, Lai Mohammed, has been appointed as special advisor to the United Nations World Tourism Organization. Secretary General Zurapolikashvili, I pray I didn't murder that name,
Oh, you did.
said that. Well, that's good news for Nigeria.
Yeah.
And no fewer than 3 persons were reportedly shot dead on Wednesday when protests abruptly erupted at Weta Market in Enugu. All regarding the sit-at-home order. And finally, a group, the coalition of hashtag NSAS protests and supporters, has demanded that the Lagos State government should conduct a DNA mapping on all the 103 corpses recovered in the wake of the October 2020 NSAS protest.
That's
And for Friday,
all right, for Friday news making the headlines, President Bola Tinubu on Thursday urged Nigerians to persevere with his administration some more, saying he understands the pains they must be experiencing since the discontinuance of the petrol subsidy on May 29th. And the Senate will on Monday commence the screening of the ministerial nominees submitted to it by President Bola Tinubu on Thursday. And speaking shortly after he read the names of the 28 nominees, the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, said the upper chamber has suspended all its activities to commence the screening immediately. So finally, we have the list out. We have
few, I would say.
Yeah, we have the list of a few nominees. Here we have 28.
28, yes.
28 nominees out. All right, so moving on, 11 states of the Federation will have to wait as President Bola Tinubu forwarded a list of 28 ministerial nominees through his Chief of Staff, Femi Gbajabiamila, to the Senate for screening and confirmation. And President Bola Tinubu's administration may create new ministries from the existing ones. Femi Gbajabiamila, also the Chief of Staff to the President, disclosed this in Abuja. And the federal government has said the planned strike by the Nigerian Labour Congress over the removal of fuel subsidy and its attendant hardship is in contempt of an order of the National Industrial Court, barring it from proceeding with the action. And after being trapped for about 5 hours, a Max Air aircraft conveying some Nigerian pilgrims from Saudi Arabia departed Niamey, Niger Republic. And the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has condemned the coup d'etat in Niger in the strongest terms. And that's all we have for the newspaper headlines.
Yes.
Yeah, so remember, like we say, you can always drop by any newspaper vendor and get hard copies, or you can check on their website and keep yourself fully updated on all the headlines that we have brought to you. We have more still coming your way on New Dawn Nigeria. Just stay with us.
Well, this is still the new dawn. Now, we'll be looking at state of the nation. What has been trending, I would say, from Monday to Friday. As we know, the case of Mefele, that's a suspended CBN governor, has triggered the airwaves, and also what has been trending. That's from I think Wednesday or Thursday
Yeah.
to Friday is the issue of the ministerial nominees that are to be screened on Monday. Now, starting with the Godwin Emefiele's case, where he finally was taken to court. Now, the drama unfolded when, after they are done with the proceeding, or done with the case, with a bail of 20
Yeah,
million,
man.
20 million and two shorties of like sum. That's those that have the same 20 million should be having that in their account, that will sign to guarantee that, okay, if they need him again, he will avail himself. Now, the whole drama unfolded when normally is supposed to be forwarded to the correctional center.
Sorry.
They were there on standby to take him to the correctional center, where at least he will be awaiting trial. He will be awaiting when the bailing conditions will be fulfilled. Now, another ball game happened when the DSS decided to arrest him again. It created a lot of tension that at the point those that were there feared there might be gun battles because it was completely chaotic. The DSS were strategic, like they knew what they were after. Actually, it's a good thing that they are trained that way, but they were trained that way not to do anything to a civilian or someone. I mean, it's just possession of illegal fire. I've never heard, or not that I know of someone being charged and asked to pay 20 million naira just because he possessed or is having illegal firearms. It's not like he embezzled like 50 billion, as we know of, or some case where monkeys or snake will steal some money. But regardless, the whole chaos happened when they whisked him away and tried to fight some of the correctional center officials who were there. I felt at that point the DSS overstepped or overused um, their power. Now they took him back to their center. There is that factor also where they were asking to remind him, I think, for another 15 days or so
Yeah.
before
They
taking
won't
him
have him for
to
15
the
days.
correctional center. But the court said, no, you have to stand by what the law says. No one is above the law, not even you
Okay.
guys. But still on still, he's still in their custody. I feel I,
So okay, let me trace back. For me, my thoughts on the whole Emefiele's case is that I was taken by shock when I saw the allegations. I know lawyers have been saying things about he and Bar. What are their allegations? Indict them for something. What are their allegations? And I was very surprised to see the allegations. It's yes, it's very it's a serious allegation, possession of illegal possession of firearms, but it
terrorism.
was not our expectation. It
Yes.
was not the expectation. First of all, I was like, wow,
Yeah, I was
was that
expecting they
it?
would say racketeering or
Exactly, or
maybe
something else. It was yes.
laundry.
So it's beginning to make me feel like his arrest is sort of vendetta, and because
Or
you
which
you
hunting.
cannot pick him on that, because a lot of people tell you that if you pick him on probably some corruption allegations or something, or maybe the part he played during the cash redesign policy era and the rest, it may bring down a lot of other people, and they just found illegal. Like somebody stated, we're seeing people like Asari Dokubo boldly pledging his support for the president, and he has firearms on
Hmm.
air, he has firearms everywhere, and you are telling us that you are arresting the.
Which obviously he doesn't have a license for.
Of course, you cannot tell me that Saidu Kobo is holding license, even if he is, that is an unlawful handling of firearms, showing it out like that, and you're pledging your support for the president. Now let's come back to the court case. Like we have been flogging it here since. It's our judicial system is in a deplorable state, if you ask me. And first thing on my mind, I would just feel like people are no longer paying respect to the judiciary. Is it because behind doors money is exchanging hands?
Possibly, and I also feel they too
Because
themselves contributed to it.
yeah, that's the highest temple of the law of the nation. And people who are supposed to be under the service walk in there and create that amount of chaos, and they get away with it. Because what I expect to see happening is that,
There's nothing
okay,
like contempt.
those people, exactly, those people who have come, those people who have created such a chaos in such a hallowed place should be, if you tell me that, oh, 5 DSS officials who created this chaos have been arrested, have been remanded, then I'll be like, okay, we are moving forward, but nothing is done.
They're not even talking
Nothing.
about it.
And it's not okay. I know that this is not a statement of fact, but we know that the other official from the correctional services, he was stripped off. So I think that couldn't come on air because these were pressmen who were videoing that he was stripped of his whole uniform. And this now brings us to us talking about these servicemen being in synergy. If they have to tussle like that for who holds the CBN governor, how are we sure that moving forward for the state affairs, these people are going to be in synergy?
One major thing to also consider is, imagine this is just someone who has been stated is in possession of unlicensed firearms, and imagine how they are battling just to get hold of it. You wonder, is it like the golden goose? Or
Yeah,
what are we
because
not aware of?
you would wonder if an award was going to be given for whoever. It's the case is he's been taken to court, so it is a matter of court is going to judge this. So why the tussle for who holds him
in custody?
Yeah, and people would say this is karma because the court brought out a lot of orders when you are CBN governor. Do not stop the collection of the old Naira notes. Still put it in circulation. He did not obey any court order. He did not obey anyone. And we kept being like, what is that? That was when people would keep saying, is the order coming from Buhari or is it him? Buhari would say he did not instruct the CBN to do this. He did not instruct them to do that. But you were just, and now the law has come to catch up with you, and the law cannot stand for you.
So he's getting a piece of his own pie.
It feels like.
All right.
It feels like.
That's for MFLA. One of the other factor that has trended is the case of the ministerial nominees, where
finally
some people that's from the ruling party or Progressive Congress possibly felt like I've given my sweat, tears, and blood to make sure that the president Tinubu emerges. How comes we're having someone from another political party to come and be in power, and those of us that sacrifice a lot didn't get the chance to?
So if it's anything to note, I think those who came from other parties are people who have sort of fallen out with their party in favor of this particular administration, because it's just funny how those particular names made it here, and you wonder what's the game plan. Are they supposed to be bait? What are they supposed? Why are they there? Because I feel like somebody was saying they feel like new people should have been dominated, and somebody was like, the government has invested a lot in these people, we shouldn't waste the country's investment in them, they should come back and do the work. And I'm asking myself, which work
Which
what did
they do?
Because I feel like we just did a shuffling of the past administration, and we're still here again.
Imagine for someone like El-Rufai, imagine the debt he left Kaduna in. It's by far the highest in the country.
Yeah.
And we're bringing him to handle a ministry and all that. regardless of the fact that okay, that's including the other parties that were included in the
Mm.
ministerial list, that shows that the president is considering or having an inclusive governance where he's picking
Yeah, yeah,
every
he's speaking
person.
women right now. He's speaking
Yes, I
some
think about
mm,
six was
seven women
seven,
thereabout are
but
there.
I feel it could have been more.
So we're expecting more from the 15 or so that is more that is yet to be and also yet to be brought before the Senate. We're hoping that more women, because I
Will
think
be
women are
included.
asking for 35% in the government affairs. So we're hoping that more women will be
Do you
announced.
think out of the 28, like 70 is up to even?
No, we don't have up to that. We've not gotten to the quota yet. We've not gotten to the quota of the women's demands. So even if he includes a little bit of women, and another thing to note is that we don't just want women because we just want inclusion. Right?
At
Women
least they
should
should
be
have a great
able to earn
portfolio.
it. Yes, exactly. They should merit it. Their works should tell for them that they're. And then I know I said a lot about the past government just being shuffled and brought
Brought
back.
back.
But it's good to also note that there are some people that we've seen there. Of course, we can't overemphasize the likes of Wale Edron and Dele Alake. Of course, they were. It was very obvious that they were going to come in, right?
Definitely, it's just
Yes.
like the case of Nuhu Ribado.
Yeah.
The,
Yeah.
there is definitely a slot for them.
Yeah, there's definitely stuff for them. So we're if there's one thing we try to do, let's try to be optimistic and see how we're hoping that the Senate really grills these people.
Scrutinize them.
Yes,
And
let them be what every onion peel that they come with. They should be what every slice that they seem to offer. We don't. There's no portfolio yet
yes,
announced as at this moment. Now there's no portfolio, but we're hoping that everything aligns. I'm guessing they have to be screened according to their portfolio. So
yes,
hopefully by
definitely.
Monday morning we
Their
should see.
past, if there's any criminal record,
Yeah, we should
education,
see. Mm,
everything will be looked into. But again, we all know how sometimes the rubber stamp effect can be.
mm,
Some might just be like, take a bow, and that's just it. That's what they usually
yeah,
say. From what we've seen, you've gone to Harvard, you did this, you did that, you did that, forgetting all the corrupt
forgetting every.
aspect. You'll be like, hi, Mr. Man, just take a bow.
Yeah,
That's just it.
because the Senate spokesman, when he spoke yesterday, he was saying, because that was when the question was asked that we're not even considering some allegations against these people, and that was when he said something, and to my amazement, we're talking about corruption allegations against some of the nominees that they have not been cleared, right? And then he says something like, we cannot waste these investments. I don't get it, and sometimes I just feel pity for this spokesperson, because I feel like it's your job. You have to come here and just tell us something that you yourself do not mean.
It's just
Like,
like it's just like the case of Lai Muhammad.
yeah, you have to come. You have to come and tell us something. I'm like, okay, this is, you have to do your job. But right now, I don't think you understand how you sound. For him to come out on air and tell us that they're telling you people have corruption allegations, and they're talking about one person to really note that has brought a lot of talk around his nomination is El Rufai,
Mhm.
and the Senator Shehu Sani from the same Kaduna state had nothing good to say about him being nominated. There is a lot that has come up with him. Even the conversation he was having about the whole his opinion on the whole Muslim ticket and all of that. It was not expected that his name will be there, but let's see what the ministerial list
But
holds for us.
we know it's going to be a walkthrough for all.
Yeah, it's going to be finally. I'm waiting to. I'm waiting for somebody to say, "Oh no, I will not take this." Maybe Wiki,
It's going to be a
considering considering the statement he had made earlier when he said he is not going to be in
He's
this
not going to
government.
accept
He's
any
not going to
ministerial.
accept. So let's see what will happen, and we hope that the Senate grill him in those lines so that we can hear his take
But
on
again,
that.
you hardly grill someone like Wiki. He
No, he will
has.
end up grilling all of you.
You understand?
Yeah, we will end up grilling all of you. But fascinating times, and we're expectant for what the Senate has for us coming from Monday. I think
Yes.
it's always aired, I think, on the Parliament or on their channel. So let's just wait and keep
And we'll have
abreast.
details
And
of that also on this platform.
yeah. We have details of that here. All right, we have a lineup of fascinating interviews coming your way. We have amazing women who are doing extraordinary things in the humanitarian, if I can call it, sector in Nigeria, and you get to meet them right after the break. Welcome back. You're still watching New Dawn Nigeria on viewer television. And like we mentioned earlier, before we went on a break, we told you how we had an interesting lineup of women doing amazing jobs in the country in their area of specialization. We have Angela Onyemo. She is the founder of Oak Bridge Foundation, and she's with us today in the studio. You're welcome, Angela.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. So from the little we know that Oak Bridge Foundation, you offer free education to out of school children,
Yes.
right? So let me leave this to you to just give us a little bit of story and history of Oak Bridge.
Okay, so the focus is to provide free education, quality education to out of school children whose families cannot afford education. So we're focusing on vulnerable children. They don't have to be orphans, as long as they're not getting access to education, either because their parents can't afford it, or maybe in some cases their parents are indifferent about education or do not prioritize education. We're there for those set of children. Oak Bridge started in 2015
Okay.
with me and just one child. She was 5 at the time. It was within her compound where she lived. We had 3 sessions every week.
You were going to her
Yes, I was
compound?
going to her compound. It was a vision I had for over a year, but after resigning my job and going around the communities to finally pick one community, I decided, okay, a good way to start is to start with one child at their home, just so that I don't keep waiting for a perfect time or a perfect space. So I started on a one-on-one basis 3 times a week. And then after 3 months, we were able to rent a space that could take about 10 children. And then we grew from there to 17 children. We moved from there. We did an extension, a little extension, on that same space, and we were able to take about, I think, 22. Then we moved to a 2-bedroom space where we were like 38. And now we're in a 5-bedroom compound where we have classes from primary 1 to primary 6.
Okay, so we're going to come to the point where we talk about your growth process and how every step has been. But you did mention parents who could not afford, right? And you also mentioned parents who probably are indifferent. Getting those children on board where their parents are indifferent, has that been a challenge?
Well,
to get those children coming to school?
Only at the beginning, the first month. That was when I visited a family, spoke to the father, and he said, oh, I have about 6 children who don't go to school. And I asked their different, age. And he said, okay, on Monday you can come and pick them up, because at that time I was willing to pick them up and take them to the center we had rented. And when I got there, uh, he didn't take my calls. He just said,
No.
hold on for me. So I was there for a couple of minutes, and then a neighbor just came and said, see, let me tell you the truth. This man no one make your children go your school. So no just waste your time say you wait for him. Say
Okay.
you keep tossing you. I
Okay.
called a couple of more times. Later he just said his wife said we should just leave it. So that's the hardest or the most difficult. But as far as enrollment is concerned, especially more recently, neighbors and friends of this set of children come to tell us about them, and then we ask questions to know about their economic status, and do interviews, and then from there we enroll them.
Okay, you talked about interviews, so does it mean there's a criteria for these children? And then do they come to look for you, or like you said, do you have parents or students who come to look for you, or you go out to tell them about Oak Ridge?
Just when we started, that was when we had to go to their homes. But after that, good things travel fast.
Yeah.
So these gets to families, and then they come to us. Every year we don't have a waiting list of less than 50 children.
Oh, wow.
But we can't take them, of course, because the space, we take the children based on the space.
So you have
we
a criteria
currently.
if you can't take all of them.
Yes,
So you have
criteria is first the economic status. Why is your child not going to school? And then we back them up with questions that we ask neighbors and people around. So there's always someone to back up their stories.
Okay.
There's always a sad story anyway about one family or the other. And like I said, only a few times you would see parents coming themselves. A lot of times it's concerned neighbors. So we've not had to go to scout these children in maybe like the past 4 years. They always come to us.
All right, now I have an let me say observation. You've made mention of children that have parents, so it's indirectly privileged children in a way because they still have their parents. What about those that don't have? I'm talking about orphans who are out there in the streets. Does the organization ever consider that fact, or it's just basically strictly those children that have parents who can afford to take them to school?
We've had a few orphans, but the thing with orphans is a lot of them don't end up staying for through the 6 years of education, because there's nobody to take care of them. We recently had a case. His name is Destiny. One very bright boy. He was skilled in swimming. His swimming coach had like huge dreams for him, but there was nobody to take care of him within that community. So he had to be moved to a very far place to stay. So we can't sustain those cases. So it's not restricted to children who have families, but we have challenges of where these children, if they are orphaned, would stay, because there are very few people who want to take care of children who aren't theirs, especially when they have struggles of their own. So we have orphans in the sense that their mother is a single mom, but we don't have orphans in the sense that both parents are leads.
Now you said the whole thing started like 2015, yeah. How COVID-19 came, and I believe a lot of students went home. The digital age kicked in really hard. How did how did your organization sustain all that, or did you guys also went on a quick break?
So we had an intervention. The first stage was to print out worksheets, and we gave them different dates to do their work in their homes. So we had them do their work, and then we would ask neighbors who had phones to take pictures and send to us, just to confirm that they were doing it. But a few weeks after, maybe a week or two after, we started the digital learning program. That was a situation where we had pre-recorded lessons uploaded to laptops and tablets, and then we sent these tablets to their homes. We put them in groups based on where they lived, and then we had their family members volunteer to supervise these sessions. So one of the things that worked in our favor is that they were not more than 5 or 10 minutes distance from each other that period. So it was easy to group them in homes and have family members supervise the sessions. So we used a whiteboard app to prepare these lessons, and then we played them offline. So of course it made us skip the challenge of having to pay for data or holding back an intervention like that because of data. So data was not an issue. They were played offline, and they were interactive such that there will be pauses in between, so that these children can respond, give responses to their instructor. So that's how we did it during the lockdown, and
Now,
it was effective.
let me back you up a little bit. You made mention of Destiny, right? His swimming
Yes.
coach.
Mhm.
Are there other curricular activities, or
Activities.
it's just
Yeah.
basically because you made mention of swimming, so I want to
Mm.
believe you were taking for swimming lessons, or
Yes, we have partnership with a dance school, a soccer academy, a swim school, a music academy, and different children who are interested in those fields go there, and they have access to trainings for free. So we had about 6 children in that swimming academy, and Destiny was one of them. Soccer holds every Saturday, so they go in groups. Their parents, we have parents take them every Saturday for these sessions, and the dance school comes to us, so we don't have to
Okay.
go to their studio. Their studio is all the way in Apo, so they bring their instructors to us, and they hold dance sessions.
Okay, so okay, we'll come to funding and collaborations because I know that this must be costing a lot, right? We know what
Yeah.
is happening in the educational system.
Mhm.
This must be costing a lot, but I'm thinking of parents who are not sending their children to school.
Mm.
I'm guessing a whole lot of them are probably not privileged to be educated.
Definitely.
Has that been a challenge? Like these children, their take-home assignments and all that. How have they been able to cope with having parents help
Mm.
or having guardians help them, or do they become so independent that they can handle their take-home assignments and all of that?
It goes both ways. Some of them can independently. Some of them seek help of neighbors, because most of their parents are not literate, so they
Oh.
can't. Some, even though they would want to help them, cannot
Cannot.
assist. So we encourage them to reach out to older neighbors to assist them. But we do have families who take this privilege very seriously, who make sure their children finish their homework or midterm projects that they are given. So those ones, handle them. But the ones who have those challenges, we just follow up, make sure that sometimes they help each other since they live close to each
Close
other.
by,
We ask,
okay.
during this midterm break, you have this project, make sure you check on Jibrin, make sure he's doing his work. So they work together.
Okay.
Collaboration is something we encourage in the school, in classroom and outside of school. So those are the ways we handle them.
Okay, so I've seen a couple of you trying to reach out, and you have the feeding program and all
Yeah.
that for the children in school. So how is the care for these children in school? Because I see you do more than just that. A lot of them, if they can't afford this, we're guessing they can't afford to have snacks and all of that come to
Yes.
school. So how do you care for them?
So
when they
they're
come into
offered
school?
one meal every day. When we started, there was we involved vegetables and fruits, but as the numbers grew, we had to channel the budget to solid food. So they are offered one meal every day. But if we receive donations of snacks, we give them those ones in between. So what we're there to offer is basic education. But sometimes these things that affect their well-being
Yeah.
affect their
Yeah.
concentration, and that's why we now made it a business to offer feeding also. So it goes as far as hygiene, medication, as far as we have the parents' consent, basic first aid, hygiene products, and things like that. But our main focus, of course, is education.
So, talking about funding, how do you get funding to bring the children? Are your teachers there are they voluntary, or do you have to pay your teachers? Or if not, how do you fund these children? Their uniforms, all of that? Because I see you guys have some pretty uniforms right now. They've been going on the screen. So, how do you fund these children?
Okay, so teachers are paid, apart from volunteers that come in from time to time, or their dance instructors who don't get paid. The class teachers are paid monthly salaries. We get our donations from companies, individuals, people who have seen the work we do and see that it's something worthy of supporting. So those are people who we work with. There are organizations that give annual support to us, financial support. There are schools that donate learning resources. You would see some of the sports where they came from other schools. There are donations from a school in Saudi Arabia. So We also have something called Oak Clicks. It
Okay.
allows members to give a minimum donation of 1,000 naira every month to support teachers' salaries.
Is that going to be reviewed?
The amount?
Yes,
Well,
seeing the
minimum.
cost on and how everything is, the prices of everything is hiking. Are you going to demand or request more from your sponsors?
Since
Because
it's
that's been a
free will.
concern. If every other person, if government and everybody else is increasing prices,
Mm,
I'm guessing the cost of things will also affect you,
mm,
cost of stationery and all that.
yes.
Are you going to probably demand or request for more?
It's a strong word. Demand.
Demand, sorry,
But
I
when
request or
we ask for funds, especially recurring donations, we try to put it at an amount that, at first glance someone would feel
yeah,
like, oh, I can handle this.
yeah.
So that's why we started at 1,000. There are people who give more than 1,000 every month. So it starts at 1,000, and within your discretion you can up it. We also have a sponsorship, like school fees. We divided the school budget into four parts, and a quarter of it we divided it by each pupil, and we came up with 25,000 naira every term.
Hmm.
So, and if you calculate what we would spend in a year, you would cap it at 300,000 per child. But
Okay.
that's, at first glance, when you see
Three
sponsor a
hundred
child with
thousand.
3,000, I mean,
Yeah.
it takes the
Yeah.
person up. So
Mm.
25,000 we feel is easier to conceive, it's easier to want to make a commitment to. So we're
Mm.
careful when we pick the amounts that we ask people for, but of course we're open to huge donations.
Patience.
Talking about location, there is that factor or that need for a child to reach the learning center. Now, what is there any measure that is being put in place to ease? Obviously, they are finding it hard to make ends meet. That's
Hmm.
why you guys are helping.
Yes.
There's also the aspect of transporting themselves to the learning center.
Hmm.
Is there any measures that have been put in place to make sure that okay they reach the learning center, or do they take themselves there on their own?
They come to school on their own. We have proposals out there to companies we feel can partner with us to provide transportation, but we haven't received any positive responses yet. So cases where maybe a child is too weak or feeling sick to go home, we provide transportation for them to return home. But for now, they come to school in groups, they all walk to school. So the distance from their home to school is between 5 minutes and I think about 25 minutes walk every day. So for now, there's no solution to that. There's no intervention for
Yeah.
transportation except in cases where a child is not feeling well and we need to help them get home, or if we go out on excursions or any play activity outside of the school, of course, whoever we're partnering with provides transportation for them to go.
Okay.
That's
So
what we do for
okay,
now.
let's talk about progress. Like how has it been? Even the children, how have you seen them transform? And also your number. And let me just cap also that we talk about the progress.
Okay.
Yes, throughout. So your students, I see that you just graduated a set. How many
Second
have
set.
you? Okay, this is the second
Yeah,
set
the
you've
first
graduated.
set was last
Yeah.
year.
Okay. So and how are they doing outside of your school now?
These children, some of them came in between the ages of 5 and 6. In those earlier years, a lot of them were timid. There were some of them who couldn't speak, like communicate in English. Those early times, I know that I had to use Hausa to help them
Oh,
understand, what I was teaching. And I've seen those children grow from that to learning their sounds, to being able to write stories of their own, to being able to stand in front of people on large stages and make presentations.
wow.
Some of them took part in preparing their speech during the graduation. So that's something that when we look at, we grow teary because we
Amazing.
know when they started. We know
Mm.
when it was a challenge to get a child to understand certain sounds or identify certain numbers. So every time it's something that wells up joy in your heart. Like I said earlier, we started in a little room and then we have grown to where we're using a 5 room space, but that's not where we want to stop. We currently have a fundraiser going on to be able to enable us get our own land, to be able to build and then have more classes. Like I said, we have a waiting list every single year, so we need to fill up those spaces.
Okay.
All right, now you made mention of them graduating.
Hmm.
So have you guys considered any or what happens after they've graduated, or is it them going back to their father's house to because we know as the class increase as the class increase, so does the amount to pay
Hmm.
for whatever that needs to be paid for the child to get a better education. Now you usually stop primary
Primary.
primary six.
Yes.
So I'm looking at the JSS level, secondary school level. You guys have plans for that for those that have graduated,
Hmm.
or is it them going back to the house?
So we're there to provide basic education, basic
Okay.
foundation education. But I mentioned earlier that we have a program that allows people to sponsor children with 25,000 naira termly, and some of them have been fortunate enough to have their sponsors say, "I want to sponsor them through secondary school." So we have about 6 of them already who are in another school, a
Another
secondary
school.
school in
Okay.
that community.
Okay.
So that sponsorship has extended into secondary school. We still have conversations with this school. The school also gave us a partial scholarship. They reduced the tuition fee. So things like that have helped those children to transition into secondary school. So we do say that we provide primary education, but whatever we can do to help them transition, we do it. So right now our partnership is just with one school. There's another school that they're going to be taking entrance exams for in between August and September. That's another partnership for them to get into secondary school. So we strictly focus on primary education, or the things we can do to help them get into secondary school,
Further.
we do them. We also encourage the parents to work harder, see what they can
Yeah.
do for
Yeah.
themselves, so that it doesn't become that they go and then they're not able to continue. So we have 2 sets so far, and
Mm.
we can proudly say they're all in secondary school or going
Going
into
into
secondary
secondary
school.
It's such an amazing job you are doing. It
Thank you
takes
very
a
much.
lot of heart to do that,
Thank you.
especially right now. You're giving hope to a lot of people. And we know that we have a lot of viewers who would probably want to partner with you, want
Mhm.
to support this great job you're doing. So can you just give us and give them details of how we can be a part of the work you're doing?
Okay, I mentioned the monthly donation, minimum of 1,000 naira every month.
Mm.
If you're interested, you will join a WhatsApp group. The group is strictly for reminders. There are no broadcasts, there are no chats. The
Mm.
group is locked so that people's privacies are, ensured. But you get reminders every 26th of every month to send in your donation. That's one of them. We have the sponsorship where you can sponsor a child per term. If you want details of how this can happen, you can visit our website, visit our social media handles. We are at Oakbridge Foundation on all social media handles.
Okay.
Our website is www.oakbridgefoundation.org. If you go there, the information on how you can sponsor and make donations. Our account details are there. If you just want to make one-off donations, that's fine. There are people who donate food items to support our
Mm.
feeding program. That's a way, to support. If you have an organization that offers skills to children, services to children, we could partner for you to come once a week, twice a week to, interact with the children and develop skills in those areas. Earlier, I said we are running a campaign to raise funds for our building project. Is www.blessme.com. Bless
Okay.
me is MI, not ME. So
Okay. Mm.
blessandme.com, you would see our fundraiser there also, and you can make your transfers using USSD, PayPal, or Apple Pay. So those are
Okay.
different ways you can support us.
Okay.
You can
All
tell your
right.
friends about us. You can share our posts on social media when you see what we're doing. You can share them your stories. Those are different ways people help the word get out there.
Yeah.
So
All
it
right.
doesn't have to be monetary.
Monetary, yes. So everything you have as a skill, as a gift,
Mhm.
whatever is welcome to help these
Yes.
children.
Mhm.
Well done.
Thank you
Well
very
done,
much.
Angela.
Thank you.
We're wishing you and Oak Ridge Foundation the very, very best. It's been
Thank you.
amazing having you around.
Mhm.
And that's all we're taking for this segment of Angela. We'll get all her information out to whoever wants to partner and join Oak Ridge Foundation to get to their destination
And help the
and forward.
children.
Yeah, and help the children. Help the children. All right, we still have another amazing, wonderful woman coming up next right after the break. Do stay with us.
Presenting to some and introducing to others. Oak Bridge Foundation. We are an organization that promotes social inclusion using the vehicle of free and quality education for indigents. We offer our pupils exposure to learning experiences that their socio-economic status cannot afford. At Oak Bridge, every child's dream is valid. Oak Bridge started with one teacher and one child. Now there are 68 pupils across primary 1 to primary 6 and 10 teachers. Extracurricular activities. Oak Bridge and her partners want to one day see her pupils compete in sports and music on the global scene. How we are funded. Donations from individuals, companies, and other NGOs help us to meet our objectives. How can you get involved? Sponsor a child with 25,000 naira termly, which is 75,000 per session. Join at Oak Cliques to help pay teachers' salaries. Be a part of our A Meal a Day Angels. Volunteer as a teaching or admin team member, an Oak Bridge ambassador, or a grants application writer. You can also donate laptops, projectors, digital cameras, a school bus, and sports equipment. Also, you could share this post on your feeds or stories. Tell someone about us. For further information, call us on 234 708 008 4680. You can visit us opposite Dunamis International Gospel Center, Katampe 1, Mpape, Abuja. Visit our website at www.oakbridgefoundation.org. We look forward to partnering with you as we work towards changing our world. Lock arms with us today. Thank you.
Now, the need to impact on humanity is imperative to some individual. Therefore, they delving into ways in order to cushion the effect of whatever hardship that life offers. Now, as we promised earlier, we have interesting human, I would say, ladies that are into humanitarian affairs out there to impact one way or the other on individuals or communities. Now, for this session, we have Juliet Joseph, that's the CEO of Husky Foundation, to tell us more on how the foundation has been helped from inception to what is happening now and what are the foundation's major goals. You are very very much welcome.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. First of all, let's get a picture of what Husky Foundation is all about, how it started, what prompted you to create such a foundation, and if there are any things that we that don't have foundation should note.
Okay. Healthcare Empowerment Foundation is focused on providing for the vulnerable population. As we all know, Nigeria is plagued with a very peculiar crisis, and quite prominent is the issue of poverty. which is underlying causes of other issues. So we are trying to drive community-based projects and find solutions to it. We're trying to reach out to people, less privileges. In the IDP camp, we've been reaching out to the physically challenged. We've been reaching out to so many people. We've been doing a lot of educational programs and empowerment programs, and we've been releasing relief material, emergency relief materials, and so many others. Yeah.
All right. And when did you commence this foundation?
The foundation, I've been running so many programs before even going into the foundation.
Formally.
Yes, formally. So lots of people have been seeing my programs and be like, why not get a foundation registered? Since this is something you have passion for and you've been doing this with your money, get a foundation so that others can support you and you can reach out to more people. So I said, okay, if that's the case, let me just get a foundation registered. So
I love the name, and so that's why we have the name the Heart Foundation, because it started from a place of your heart, because you said you were just doing this and then it grew to becoming a foundation. Now talking about growth, let's say, how has the progress been from when you started and up to this point?
the challenges I've faced as a humanitarian is the inability to sustain a long-term project due
Okay.
to um, due to adequate funding. At times, we may want to go into a particular project, and we want to keep doing this particular project constantly, just like the distribution of sanitary pads that is supposed to be every month. We want to be doing that in the rural area, because the girl child, they face a lot of challenges when they're on their period. Some of them don't go to school, and some of them are faced with infection and all that. So sometimes we face challenges.
Okay.
Talking about the Husky Foundation, right? What prompted you to go for the name Husky? I know Husky is in Hausa, and the literal translation is like illumination or light.
um, I'm from the north. I was born and brought up in the north. So
Which part of the north, right?
Adamawa State. Yeah. So I stayed in Kaduna too forever. So Husky means brightness, sun, something that can brighten your day, brighten your mood, you know. So we have to bring the heart, like we're trying to brighten people's heart.
Okay.
So I want everybody to feel the north. I'm bringing in the north. I'm also bringing in the foreign language. So Husky
Okay.
and English,
And English.
coming
Oh,
together.
okay.
Yes. So
Okay,
so my
Husky
own
heart.
people feel belong.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So that's why I bring the two names together. Then Empowerment Foundation, because we're working on trying to empower people to, like I said, we've been doing some empowerment programs, but we're trying to see how we can work into empowering a lot of people.
Okay. You said empowerment means you do empower people in terms of skills or what?
Now we empower people with sometimes cash to
Okay.
start up something for themselves.
Okay.
We are looking towards doing more in the future.
Have you been able to get support? Because I know that this is it seems like you're having a big feat. It seems like you're doing something large. Have you been able to get support? Find support from individuals or other organizations or something?
Donations.
Donation. For now, yes. From individuals, I've received several calls. We see what you're doing. You're doing good. Like, you've been reaching out to so many people. Where do you get your funds from? You do all this with your money. Like, you save your money to do this, and willingly, some people will say, okay, please, I want to donate something to this foundation.
Oh, that's
Or at times,
nice.
I want to reach out to so persons. So please take this, you know. So at times we have such.
So how do you
donations.
target communities or people? Do you target communities around? Are you in a particular state talking about location, or do you just go wherever and when the need arises?
Yes, wherever the need arises,
Okay.
wherever we discover they're facing challenges.
Husky packs up
Yeah.
and goes there. And
Yes.
Um,
Render support.
Recently, I understand you reach out to disabled that's in your hometown, man.
Yeah.
What prompted you to reach out to the disabled? Is there a criteria that you usually look at when you are trying to help, for instance, disabled, those that can't afford sanitary pad, or how do you usually figure out
Okay.
who to help?
That program I did for the disabled was during Valentine period. You know
Okay.
how Valentine is the day for love and all
Mm,
that. And these physically challenged persons,
yeah.
they at times they feel left behind. Like people don't carry them along. They don't feel loved. And even if people want to give them anything, they give them leftover things that they
Not
don't longer
things,
use or they
yeah.
don't longer need. That's what they give them to wear and all that. So I feel let me do something, let me bring them all together in one umbrella and do a program for them. I bought new clothes, new shoes, food, drinks, music. There was party and everything for the Valentine
Oh
for them.
wow.
Yeah, they were all happy.
And where did
So
this hold?
in Numa,
In
Adamawa
Noman.
State.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah, like he mentioned, yes.
Yeah.
And we also saw you made a donation one time of 200,000 to people. What was that
Um,
about?
yes, it's also for the physically challenged.
Was it
Yeah,
the same Valentine period?
no, it
Okay.
wasn't. It was a different period. It was just to support them to do one or two
So do you want to say,
things.
is it for business or you're just giving them
It's
that?
for business.
So do you have a system where you follow them up to make sure that they are actually becoming something and
Yes, yes.
okay
I've been trying to follow
to
them
follow
up.
them up?
Yes.
You have
Now, if one should, you've been doing it even before you established or registered the foundation formally.
Yeah.
If one should ask you roughly how many, roughly the figure of people you've impacted, that's before the inception of the foundation till date. How many figures will you say you have reached so far? How many people do you think you've reached so far roughly?
Okay.
I know you might not get the right figure, but if roughly you are to call a number.
Okay, before the foundation, the programs, I've done a lot of programs for the IDPs, the orphans, widows, traumatized, and all that. I've been reaching out to them in foodstuff, clothing, and all that. Let me say roughly um, 5,000.
oh wow
Individuals.
Yes.
individuals. That's a lot. So you've mentioned something about you reached out to the traumatized and all. We know that there's a lot that people who have been through trauma need. Do
Everybody
you
is
everybody's going through a lot?
through a
Have
lot in
you do you
Nigeria.
have or have you thought of or do you have in collaboration with, because that's one thing that people are being sensitized about now, mental health. Do you work with psychologists or people like that
Specialist.
that help you bring some people out of these things, or are you just focused on giving them material and substantial things that they can?
Mm, at times I have kind of a sitting with them to discuss, to encourage, and all that.
Hmm.
So at times a therapist can have a discussion with
With
them
them.
one to one.
Oh,
So that's what I do in my own little way for
oh,
now. Yeah.
that's nice. So
But
before
the more the foundation is
it's
growing, we
growing,
get
you'll be getting
yes,
more and more.
we
So that
get
means you're open to people coming in and joining the Husky Foundation with whatever
yes, I'm
skills
open
and
to people coming in.
everything that
Yes.
they have. All right. So what's your roadmap of activities for your upcoming activities so that it will help us and help also viewers who would want to know that okay, Husky is working towards this. I think we should look forward to joining them. Look forward
What
to
we
yeah.
should expect? Do you have any plans forward?
Yeah. Um like I said earlier, this project of sanitary pad distribution
Mm.
is something I want to take seriously because I've seen how um, it causes a lot of damage to the girl child in the rural area, especially
Mm.
because I've gone to a particular place where someone told me that her daughter have never used sanitary pad. Like this is the first time she's even
Oh
affording.
wow.
Yeah, like this is the first time she's even seen sanitary pads. So people are suffering out there, but they don't. People don't reach out to them to help them because
Okay.
someone on a normal, someone in the city will say, what is sanitary pad of 1,000 that somebody cannot
Mm.
afford? But
Mm.
if you're not in it, because I grew up in the north, I know how sometimes things can be in the north, and in some areas can be quite challenging, and growing up was not easy. So sometimes you understand that things can really happen like this. In fact, someone will wake up and will not even have something to eat for the whole day. So there's a lot of poverty in
No.
Nigeria,
Yeah.
and that is what we're looking into.
So that's what you're
the way
working.
we can find.
Yeah, you actually pointed out something that a lot of us will just overlook, that people who are in these societies that don't have access to things like sanitary towels, they have to miss school during that period because maybe their sanitary hygiene is not up to standard. They don't want to come to school and they're messed up. So do you have the capacity to do this for them monthly? Because we know that they need this monthly. Do you have the capacity?
Like I said earlier, the challenges I face is sometimes funds.
Okay.
Yes, but for now, the little we can offer is what
It's
we are
what you have
offering.
to, yeah.
But the more
Yeah.
we have
The
not
more
really
you-
start looking out for donors and all that,
that.
you know. But
Okay, you've not started looking at, because that's one of the reasons why we're here, is because why you were here is because we know that funding is usually one of the problems that you people have, and you've mentioned that as a major issue. And so, but are you open to people partnering with you? If you're open, how can people reach out to you through this ways? How can people locate you? How can people find you and be part of the Husky Hearts Foundation?
Okay, yes, I'm very open. My office is always open. You can reach out, so you can go online. Husky Heart Empowerment Foundation is there,
Okay.
and you can also, like, you can reach out in any way.
In any way,
Yes.
anyway, you're open to.
We're
As
open.
long as we're moving
Yes.
the ministry of helping people
We're
forward,
open.
you're open to that. All right.
And also, is it only that's talking about donations? Is it only monetary?
No.
What if someone has books, clothes,
It's
or
not only
sanitary
monetary.
pads or food stuff?
Of course, when it comes to donation, it's not money. It's not just about money. Anything can serve. Anything can touch someone's life. There are people out there that they don't even have clothes to wear, or during the climate changes, they don't even have things to cover their body during Hamatan, rainy season, and all that. Like, people are facing a lot. So sometimes we do distribution of clothing too. We give people wrappers and all that. It depends on the weather.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So anything.
All right.
anything is up. We are open to receive any kind of donations.
All right. You're doing such an amazing job, and it was very fantastic having you come around today. And we're reaching out to you guys too, to be a part of Husky Heart Foundation, Husky Heart Empowerment Foundation. It's such an amazing job they're doing, and I'm sure they would welcome your donations of skill, of funds, of what have you. It will be welcomed, right? It was very amazing having you this morning, and we still have more coming your way on New Dawn Nigeria. Please do stay tuned.
The game of polo, it's my life. Polo is good. So I just started, and I'm still learning the basics. But I hope to be a pro in this game, and God being by my side, I know everything will be fine. I started 4 months ago. I started stick and ball 4 months ago, though I attended the riding course in Pakistan. I've learned the riding basics, but the game of polo 4 months ago, I started stick and ball. Every day we mount on the horse, we pray, and once we come down, as you can see, I was about ending and I fell from the horse. It's a normal thing. Horse riding, if you don't fall, you don't started yet. So you need to train. You can see I'm sweating, I'm eating banana, it's part of it. You must train, you must eat well, and you must learn properly. I've chosen polo to be my own sport, and I've always looked up to people like General Kazir Fire, General MSA Aliu, Colonel Waibelu, and General Laka. Few of them I've looked up to these people. These are great polo players, and they've always encouraged me to play the game of polo.
Now, according to 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene, he says, guard your reputation with your life. You never can tell what will happen when there is dent on that reputation. So all you have to do, make sure that today you, of course, justify what happens tomorrow if only you stay true to what is right. This is how far we can go on the New Dawn for these episodes. Remember, we will be up on all our social medias. You can join us there. That's if you miss the televised version. And from my side, Phillips Living, I'd like to say do enjoy all that you can in life. Try and live, not survive. As much as Nigeria is a bit shaky, or is according to one of our lawmakers, he said he's doing like this, like
Yeah.
this, like this. Like, but regardless, try and live, not survive. And from my delectable co-presenter,
Yeah, it's wishing you a wonderful and amazing week ahead. It is always fantastic having you. Come listen to us every time on New Dawn Nigeria. Until we come your way again, remember to be good and stay good and have